Defend it.
So what I'm actually working on here is a project called Secrets, right? This is from a sketch I made about, let me see, 2018. And yeah, I feel that secrets are, you know, the saying like it's swept under the rug. That's where I'm going with this piece. So your secrets will be found out sooner or later, whatever it is. And we tend to want to sweep our secrets under the rug, but eventually it will be revealed, right? So you can have a secret. We all have one. And if you have a secret and You think you're doing a good job at hiding or suppressing it. Eventually, it comes to light. So secrets aren't forever. I mean, I don't know. Some people do go to the grave with a secret, so I don't know how they dodge that bullet, but that's life. But majority of secrets do get revealed. So when we think we can cover it up, we can't. So secret, acrylic on canvas. So I'm working with acrylics, right? And I like to use one or two brushes when I paint because I like the result. The result gives it a vintage type look. It's old. To me, it looks classical. When I was in college, I didn't know a lot about like artists. A lot of the famous artists that they have, right? So when I was painting, the professor said, you're like your style is like a Renaissance painter. And at first I didn't know what that was, until I started to study what that is, right, or who they were. And then when I did see their work, I started to say, wow, okay, I like their work. I like that it was vintage. I like that it was painting. Like you see the paint. It's not super realistic, right? I mean, super realistic is a great talent, but I like to see the paint. I like to see the raw paint on a brush, and it's painting, right? Sometimes you see a piece of art and you're like, wow, is that a photograph or is that a painting? So you're conflicted until you say, listen, it's a painting, and you recognize that that's an amazing talent. So yeah, but I don't know. I said that's why we have cameras. That's my solution to like realistic stuff, And yeah, I like to see the childlike work in the art. So that's how I tend to paint and do my work. Yeah, secrets. You got some secrets? No, they will be revealed. Sometimes it's very obvious, and you, as in this painting, you'll see the obviousness of it, right? You shove it up the rug, but then there's some kind of, something stands out. It says, there's something wrong here. There's something missing. Oh, and don't forget, you got that ARTLOS. All right, get that brand. Don't you forget. I'm watching you. I'm serious. So this is what I do pretty much all day. Paint. And if I'm not painting, I'm editing something, or I'm reading something, or I'm designing something, drawing some painting idea. I like to draw. Like when I sketch, like I have a lot of sketches, so I revert back to my sketches, and then I whichever one I feel like, I say, okay, I'm gonna paint this one. So I decided to paint this particular one. I wanted to paint this for a while, so I decided I'm gonna paint it now. And I actually started it yesterday, and then something just told me to. Why not just record it? Record what you're doing. Oh wow, 5 minutes. All right, so as you can see, I'm just using green, red, and yellow. Ice, gold, and green, right? And this keeps the temperature down. So the pool table represents games people play, you know. So when you're playing games and you're keeping secrets, that's what the pool table represents. I'm a pool fanatic, so I do have a drawing. Actually, not a drawing, it's a photograph of myself playing pool. So eventually I'm going to paint that. And it's a motion piece, so I'm taking a shot. So I thought that would be an interesting painting, you know? Yeah. I just like to keep these paintings rugged and old-fashioned. Looks like it's an old thrift shop painting. I would go in there and you find a painting and it's in a thrift shop of some sort. So. Yes, sir, Bob. How we looking? You alright? You guys alright? Seeing just my lips? Good. Alright, so let me just give you a little close-up of it. I'm playing with light right now. You know, the light is basically coming from this direction and it's shooting across this way. So try to give it the shadows, the reflections, and pretty much that's where it's headed. The acrylic is nice, but I think the oils, I really like oil paintings. Yeah, but I work with a lot of acrylic. I find myself working with a lot of acrylic. I don't know if it's because it's just costly, the oil. I'm sure that's the issue, right? It's costly, so the acrylic is not so expensive as the oils. That's why you pay a lot of bucks for these artworks. Right. There's an oil paint and the arm and a leg. An arm and a leg oils. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see what I can get you. Let's move this over here. What is this? I mean, basically it's just strokes, you know, I just dab, 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 dab in the direction you want it, and then you get that effect, you know, it gives you the effect, and it just dabs, and if you look at it from far, it kind of looks like, I don't know, it's like something different, I guess, I don't know. Oops, let's move this out of the way. So that's pretty much secrets, a work in progress. Check it out.
That was the ice cream truck. They got 3-wheel bicycle.